Hello friends, my name is Ramasu. Today we shall discuss about a topic that what is risk register. Friend, today's topic is very interesting, especially if you have interest in project management or you are planning to give exam of PMP in near future. So let's start. First of all, I would request to please subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the bell option as well so that my new videos can reach to you. Friend, project managers have a number of tools in their tools that they can help them address potential challenges and obstacles. One such tool is the project risk register. But what is actually a risk register and how we can use it? Friend, a project risk register is a tool project managers use to track and monitor any risk that might impact their project. Risk management is a vital component of project management because it's how you proactively combat potential problems or setbacks. Using a project risk register, also called a risk log, is an essential part of this risk management process. Now, what is the purpose of a risk register? The purpose of a project management risk register is to identify, log, and track potential project risk. A risk in project management is anything unexpected that could happen that would positively or negatively affect your project. Anytime someone identifies something that could impact your project, it should be assessed by the team and recorded in your risk register. Now, why do you need a risk register? You need a risk register because as projects get larger, longer, and more complex, it becomes increasingly difficult to stay on top of everything. If risks are not tracked in a central location and reviewed regularly, something may be missed or forgotten. Some risks may seem small or unlikely at first, but have the potential to impact your project. Nonetheless, examples of project risk can include data or security risk, material being hacked or stolen, legal risk like litigation or changes in the law that impact the project, catastrophic events like fire, flooding, storm, supply chain disruption. Risk management is about identifying potential problems early so you can decide how to handle them. It also empowers you to track risk over time to see if and how they are changing. When a risk is first identified, you might consider it so unlikely that you don't bother doing anything about it. But what if, as the project progresses, the risk becomes a lot more likely to occur? By tracking your risk, you can notice changes like this early enough to take action. Now, who creates a project risk register? If you are working on a very large, complex, or critical project, you may have a risk coordinator or risk manager on your team. In this scenario, it would be their job to create and maintain the risk register. However, for most projects, responsibility for creating the risk register falls on the project manager. This doesn't mean the risk manager or project manager is responsible for identifying or taking action all the risk. Everyone on the project team and potentially impacted by the project success should help identify and assess the risk. For instance, the client or sponsor may be aware of a potential problem that no one on the project team knew about. Now, what should be included in a risk register? A risk register is essentially a table of project risk that allows you to track each identified risk and any vital information about it. Standard columns included in the project risk register are identification number to quickly refer to or identify each risk. It is a unique identifier. Name or brief description of the risk categories, whether it's internal or external, material related or labor related, probability, how like the risk is to occur, impact, if the risk takes place, how seriously will it impact your project, rating, where does the risk fall on your priority list, approach, will you monitor the risk, try to mitigate it or avoid it, action, If you plan to mitigate or avoid the risk, what are the steps involved and when will they occur? Person who is responsible for overseeing or mitigating the risk. Now, how to create a risk register? To create a risk register, all you need to do is build a table with the columns covered up, as we discussed, and start populating it with project risk. Risk categories. The purpose of the categories is to help you sort risks to make it easier to monitor them and understand what they impact. You should customize these categories to your business and project. You may even choose to have columns for separate categories. For instance, you may want a column identifying what sprint might be impacted and other identifying what type of work, development, testing, etc. will be impacted. Probability and impact. There are two ways to assess risk: qualitative and quantitative. Qualitative is the simplest and most common form. With this approach, you generally assess probability and impact on a 3 to 5 point scale, such as very high, high, medium, low, and very low. Quantitative risk requires assigning numerical values. Instead of saying there could be a high impact, you need to define it in quantifiable terms, such as a 2 or 4 week schedule delay or a 5% increase in cost. Rating. If you are using qualitative risk assessment method, your rating is typically probability multiplied by impact. If the probability is high and impact is medium, then your rating would be like 12, like 4 multiplied by 3. This method gives you a simple way to sort and prioritize risk quickly. Quantitative risk analysis is not quite as simple. It's difficult to compare and rank a 60% chance of a 2-week schedule delay with a 40% chance of a 10% increase in cost. To make this work, you will need to rate the schedule and budget impacts so they can be compared. For instance, you might consider a 6-week delay and a 10% budget increase to both be a very high impact and assign them a 5. However, you choose to track and assess risk. Make sure it's a standard across your project. If team members assess risk differently or fill out columns inconsistently, it makes it harder to view, track, and prioritize your project risk actually. Friend, I hope you like this video. If you like it, please share it with your friends and colleagues, and thanks a lot for watching the video. Thank you, friends.